Good evening, everyone. If you can hear me, wave. I'm over here by the tent. If you can hear me, wave. We're going to get started in 10 minutes. There's a little bit of traffic, and we want you to enjoy your wine from Wyandotte and your tacos. This is your 10-minute warning to get your butt in one of these white seats. 10 minutes at 6:40. Deal? All right. Good evening again. Remember, 6:40 in your seats, 6:40 in your seats. This is your 7-minute warning for all of the speakers. If you are a speaker, go by the front of the garage door. It's nearby the basketball hoop. Speakers, go by the garage door, by the basketball hoop, and do that now. Thank you so much.
Really quick, John. I put this off to the side. That way they can decide if they want to use this thing or not. Yeah, perfect. No, he's actually that he's got right there. Jacket.
Good evening, everyone. If your butt is not in a seat, get your butt in a seat in less than 60 seconds, or you have to do a Disrupt HR presentation without any preparation. Are we ready? Ross and crew, are we ready? Sound check, 1, 2, 3. Robin in the Wynot Winery, are we ready for Disrupt HR? 1, 2, 3. Roman in the taco truck, are we ready? 1, 2, 3. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the second annual Disrupt HR Columbus. Can I get a woot woot, a holler holler? All right, for everyone that had difficulty getting here because of traffic, please raise your hand. Robin, bring everyone a drink that's raising their hand right now. Was that stressful? Okay. Poor Rachael. Who's Dino? I met Dino. Dino almost killed somebody getting Rachael into the parking lot on time. It's like, no, I have a speaker in my car. I'm not going to take her into the other parking lot. We have to make sure she hears on time. But you're ready to go. Awesome. All right. My name's John Bernatovich. I will be your host for this evening. I'll be your MC. I'll be your master of ceremonies. And I'm super excited to be here. I am the founder of Willery. We are well represented here tonight. We'll give a chance for some shout outs to our team and the crew along the way. Before I get into thanking a few people and telling you what we're going to do tonight, I just wanted to thank the team from Ross's team right now. We've got a number of gentlemen here that are doing a cinematic view of this event tonight. These videos, when they come out, are going to be killer. So let's give a round of applause to the behind-the-scenes videographers, Ross and family. And then Lizzie, the marketing coordinator for Willery, and my niece. Yes, she's my niece. It's okay. We love her to death. Her sister's amazing. My sister's amazing too. But she's going to make sure that we get all the slides done properly, and I'll give you a quick instruction on how Disrupt HR works here in a second. So, Lizzie, you're on the job. Next slide. All right. This event takes a lot of time, energy, effort, and support. And I wanted to first thank Jamie, Christy, Lizzie, and Bridget from the Willery team. They are the directors, the co-chairs of this event. Please stand up, Jamie. Please stand up, Christy. Please stand up, Lizzie. Please stand up, Bridget. Thank you so much for your help. We also have a number of other volunteers who are on their team, either in the speaker team, on the sponsor team, on the day of operations team, on the marketing team. Brittany, Michelle, wait a second, stand up while I call your name and keep a round of applause going for them. Brittany, Michelle, Joe, Aaron, Jenny, Billy, Yaz, Alexis, Danny, Matt, Zach, Matt, Brittany, Jenny Lee, Brian, and Michelle. Okay, who has not been to a Disrupt HR before? Holy cow, all right, you're in for a treat tonight. This is how this works. This is one of the coolest things you will ever do in your professional career. If you have the guts to stand up on this stage and do what these folks are about to do, you have got some courage. You have a career-changing opportunity in front of you for everyone that's about to do this. You'll never be the same after doing Disrupt HR, and that's true. The reason why this is so unique is that we're all here having a fun time, having some drinks, eating some tacos, and all these folks are trying to remember exactly what they're going to say in their 20 slides in 15 seconds. Because as soon as Lizzie hits go on that PowerPoint, every slide, which is 20, is going to last for 15 seconds. And if they screw something up, they can't go back. There's no back button on the Disrupt HR remote control. And so one of the most important things, one of my 3 goals tonight, is that we support and we love on and we care for our speakers. They are the show tonight. This is not easy. Some of them are professionals, I can tell. Some of them are amateurs. Some of them are somewhere in between. We just want to care on them and love them and make sure that we give them our support because this is certainly unique. So here's to our speakers. Let's get after it in just a second or two. In order to support those speakers, I know that we have wine going. We've got tacos going. If we can just keep the noise down to a minimum, which I know may be difficult for a bunch of HR professionals to do when we all get together and start drinking, but keep the conversations to a minimum. We will give you an intermission in about 30 minutes, so you can go get another taco, or you go get more wine, or you can go to the restroom, so you don't have to feel like you have to talk while you're trying to figure out, well, I'm hungry now, and this person's talking, so let's make sure that we shh, like Mike Myers, all right? And also, this is a huge platform for us on social media. Let's make sure that we use the DisruptHR Columbus hashtag. There it is. If you use it enough, it'll probably start to show up automatically on your phone. All right? Here's our agenda because we're real anal about this stuff. We'll get you guys out of here on time. We're in the middle of the welcome. We have Ankit, Heather, and Rachael. Then we're going to also give my number 2 priority is to say thank you and appreciation to our sponsors. The sponsors helped pay for all the tacos, all the wine, this beautiful tent, all the AV support, so we want to give them our full attention. We'll give a chance for One Digital come up on stage. Then we'll have Leslie and Jeff. Jeff will end the first intermission. We'll do a quick plug for HR Like a Boss. I'll tell you what that's all about in a minute. And then we'll come back after the 20-minute intermission. We'll give a chance to do a showcase to our silver sponsors. We'll also say thanks to Willery. Then we'll get Jennifer, Hattie, another sponsorship showcase, Mark, Robin, and then we'll say goodnight. Sound like a plan? Any changes to that agenda? Anybody want to adjust that? We're good? Okay. All right. So without further ado, we're ready for this. All right. I have to tell you, this is the most persistent Disrupt HR presenter in the history of Disrupt HR presenters. He has wanted to do this since I can't even tell you when, because he would call me and ask me, I want to get on this Disrupt HR stage. And the reason why I'm telling you that is that he wanted to do what he's about to do and stand in front of you. He's willing and able and capable of doing that. His name is Ankit Shah. Sorry, next page. Ankit lives in Hilliard, Ohio. Anybody here from Hilliard? All right, awesome. Way to go. He's also joined by his beautiful wife, Jen. Jen, stand up, say hi. I'm Ankit's main support. Ankit's pretty cool because he has 3 different degrees from 3 different colleges. University of Toledo. Oh, boy. Oh, man. Hard crowd. Okay. No booing allowed. All right. North Carolina State University. Go Wolfpack. And I'm sure I'm going to get applause for this. The Ohio State University. So without further ado, let's give a big Disrupt HR Columbus welcome to Ankit Shah.
Good luck. All right. First one. Whew. Here we go. All right. Well, good evening, everyone. As you know, today I'm going to have an opportunity to tell you a story about Purple Backpack. My journey starts in Gujarat, India, where I was born and raised for 11 years. And I grew up speaking Gujarati, which is our state dialect, and Hindi, which is our national tongue. School in India was very different than here. Very strict, follow orders, you have to do well academically all the time, and must not always continue to respect your elders. Culturally, very rich. Amazing colors, amazing food, celebrations, even our weddings are 3 to 4 days long. Okay? So in 1993, my family and I decided that we're gonna move to United States because my aunt who lived here said we would have better opportunities. So where did we move? We moved to Eastlake, Ohio, which is east side of Cleveland, from Gujarat, India, okay? And immediately there was a culture shock because even something simple as getting fruits and vegetables in India, farmers came to your house to sell it. But in US, you're like, it's one store and that's all you do? You go and get it? What? So very weird. Then went to middle school and didn't speak English, cultural language, adjustment issues, a lot of stuff going on. But parents still expected me to do well academically. And this is where Purple Backpack will come into play because colors in India are really important. You see what I'm wearing, you see the pictures, we love our colors. Bright colors, light colors, mixed colors, love them. It has no connection to identity or sexual orientation or any of it. Well, when my parents decided to buy me Purple Backpack, not realizing that color in 1993 meant you're feminine, you this. I didn't have friends. People made fun of me. I didn't have a belonging. And here I am going, why does a backpack color have to do with who I am? So isolation, right? And not having friends or knowing what to do. Couldn't tell parents because I didn't want to burn them. So you're by yourself trying to figure this out. Okay, let's shift. Now to employees who come from diverse background and experiences in your workplace, right? Who don't understand your organizational culture, who doesn't understand how do you integrate effectively, and what do you need to do to create that belonging or to belong into the organization. Now we know belonging has been a buzzword for a little while, right? Belonging means your whole self. You need to be authentic, and that means your whole identity needs to come with you, okay? And that belonging will only happen when we continue to disrupt our thoughts and become comfortable with the uncomfortable. And what that means is step outside, look at your policy, learn more. YouTube is your best friend. Like, don't expect everybody to tell you what it is. So, and it starts with foundationally understanding cultural competency, which means ability to interact with people of different cultures than your own. Step outside of your comfort zone. Now, let's go back to the workplace. I'm sure all of you in some capacity saw an email that comes to your inbox that says, happy holidays, happy Eid, all of that, right? Is that enough? No. Have we asked our individuals who are in our workplaces, how do they want to be celebrated? How do they want to have that representation? There's a lot of richness. There's a lot of culture. And blanket statements aren't working. So we need to change it. We need to disrupt it. Now, did you know that in Columbus in 2020, 12.8% of the residents that live were born outside of the country? There is a lot of different cultures. There's a lot of different representations. There's a lot of different diversity of thought and experience. And what are we doing to help them not only bring into the culture, but their perspective and their diversity of thought, right? Because like the way I think, I carry multiple identities, and I'm like, which one am I leaning in? But I should be able to bring all of it. People of different backgrounds should be able to bring all of it. Think about also onboarding. When we are bringing on folks from different cultures and background, this typical welcome, hello, may not resonate with them. Like, what are we doing to maybe integrate different languages? Or think about context, lifting them up, creating psychological safety, and bringing them along with you because they may not know how to integrate, right? We need to be more intentional and not make assumptions that everybody understands US customs and cultures. So in order for us to have truly diverse team, please disrupt your thoughts, policies, practices, and invite these cultures and ask them how they want to belong, because we must create belonging for all at all times. Thank you.
We're off to a good start. Who had a purple backpack when they were a kid? All right, way to go. Ankit, way to kick us off. That was fantastic. Let's give him a round of applause again. Way to go, Ankit. All right, next up on our stage is Heather Rice to talk about grace in HR. Heather is from originally Kansas City, Missouri. She resides in Reynoldsburg, Ohio, just down the street. She was here on time because she planned out her trip and made sure she was here on time. All right, also, let's just give her a huge round of applause. She's currently a senior talent development consultant at Nationwide Children's Hospital while juggling a number of things. She's a wife, a mother, a triathlete, an aspiring farmer, and she's also a U.S. Air Force veteran. And let's thank her for our service. Without further ado, Heather Rice.
Thank you. All right, let's go. What is grace? Grace is the ability to extend compassion or respect for an other. Oftentimes, grace occurs when we have to wrestle with hard truths. So tonight, I'm going to share some hard truths in the hopes that we can expand our ability to provide grace and compassion for those we serve and ourselves. Hard truth number 1, HR is not at the table. Why is this? Too often we treat ourselves or we choose the identity of a victim by calling ourselves the redheaded stepchildren and nobody understands what we do in the organization. But in the words of Jill Ellis, if you want to make a statement, or if you want to be heard, make a statement. So the first statement we need to make is to shed that victim identity and embrace the truth that we are responsible for the most important part of any company, and that's the people. So let's step in and be with those people, to include the leaders, where we bring our passion and our excitement for the changes we want to bring to the organization by allowing us to change our messages to meet the needs of the operationally and analytical partners in leadership. So we lead with both our heart and our head. Hard truth number 2, HR is lacking focus on the human. We spend too much time hiding behind policy. And this has caused us to be a little bit robotic in our HR practice. And this also gives the impression to those we serve that we're unempathetic and a little bit jaded. So what do we do with this? Let's just admit that some of those rules need to be broken. Let's smile and laugh with those who are joyful. Let's hold hands and cry with those who are in pain. We need to be there for our people no matter what. Don't drink on the job. But all those hard decisions that we have to make don't necessarily have to be made right now. Let that decision breathe. Let's balance our action with thinking. And those policies we've been so desperately trying to enforce were created years ago. Let's be the HR generation that demolishes a majority of them and move forward with the future of work, with the workplace we have today. Hard truth number 3, HR doesn't understand operations. This is often because we're called to coach leaders on how to lead their team when we ourselves haven't even led a single human. So how do we get past this? Volunteer to lead at a volunteer organization or maybe that project management position in your organization. Get our hands dirty and start growing other humans and testing out those magical theories we have about leadership to see if they actually work in the real world. And while we're at that, let's get a little bit closer to the people who are closest to the work, because they're the ones who know where the real problems are. They just need our help in articulating the scope of it and the voice to bring it to their leadership. And let's talk about leadership. We need to understand the ocean that our leaders are in by asking curious questions so that we understand their operations, so we adapt our practices instead of making them adapt to us. And that sweet manager we have, that has 2 puppies out of the 30 jumping out of the basket and they think it's a problem, let her know, girl, you got this. 28 of your puppies are still in the basket and they're with you. Bonus truth. Inspiration comes from anywhere. HR professionals need to keep our head on a swivel. Look at the environment, see what's going on out there. Start making connections with seemingly unconnected things. This is a list of some of my inspiration, and on this list you'll see business leaders, a coach, several coaches, my pastor, and a Navy captain. And they have all provided nuggets of inspiration to me that help me with my practice. So let's take those hardships, have them refine us so that we can start letting go of the good and embracing the great.
Heather was so excited she wanted to take the microphone with her so she could talk the rest of the night. Way to go, Heather! All right. Next up is Rachael Perillo. Rachael is part of the One Digital crew. Let's give a shout out to the One Digital crew. We'll give them a chance in a minute to tell you all about what they're doing. Swipe right for top talent. I know you all cannot wait to hear this part. Rachael is born and raised in Connecticut. She came all the way from Connecticut to be with us tonight. And Rachael is a regional director of talent management at One Digital. There's also a lot of other stuff on this introduction that I think for the sake of your well-being, we just want to hear what she has to say about swiping right. So that being said, let's welcome to the stage Rachael Perillo.
Thanks. All right, let's freaking go. When employers think about recruiting, they tend to think about more. More people, more choices, more systems, and more recruiters to help search for talent. Now, others have that same mentality when using a dating app. Stay with me. Both recruiting and dating apps help us find people, right? Well aware they may not always be quality, but they're people nonetheless. Recruiting and dating apps are helpful, but they can also be time-consuming tactical strategies when they're only helping your cause on a surface level. When that's true, it'll oftentimes result in feelings like false advertisement or buyer's remorse because you just got really excited you finally found a match, and then realize you may have been catfished. That person comes across nothing like their profile. And so you gotta go take it back to the drawing board, and it's an exhausting, vicious cycle. Within the first 6 months, employees make the decision if they're staying or leaving an organization. And as statistics show, that decision is highly correlated to the relationship that they have with their boss. Leadership development is the secret sauce in your employee retention strategy and is also what's alluring to candidates out there in the talent pool. Now, the unfortunate part of this is that many companies practice what's called poof management. Have you heard of it? It goes, poof, you're a manager. That's it. Good luck. Totally not effective. Leadership and its relationship to strategic recruiting and employee retention starts with you looking in the mirror. With that being said, I want you to think about the best boss you ever had. Best boss you ever had. Bet you had a really great relationship with them. That boss took the time to coach and mentor you based on their own experience, and that felt real nice. Flip side, think of a boss that sucked. Bet you didn't have a relationship, you had a relationship. That leader, you had no confidence in. They spent no time on your professional growth and no time on your personal value, and that really hurt. But I bet it made it a lot easier for you to leave. Bad bosses happen enough, and not only is company reputation, internal culture, and morale plummeting, but let's bring it back to the dating app analogy. Now you've got talent out there in the pool starting to swipe left on that company, and I can confirm left is bad. Put yourself on a dating app, imagine it. Profile picture, summary about how cool you are, good enough to attract at least some people, right? Just like the company website that you have your summary on, spiel you have your recruiter using, good enough. But what happens when these people get to know the real you behind your profile? What's intriguing about you that's got them coming back for more? What's endearing that has their family and friends? They're telling them how lucky they are to have found you. These are the types of questions to consider when we think about strategic employee retention and recruitment processes. So I'm going to give to you 5 simple things that every company can do to better attract and retain top-tier talent. Starting with number 1, conduct an employee engagement survey. What do they want? What do they need? You don't know if you don't ask. And you can offer all the tools and resources in the world, but they're only going to be effective if they're applicable. Acknowledge where you are, collaborate with your teams on where you want to go, and create an action plan. Number 2 is consider using a behavioral assessment tool. Probably heard of Myers-Briggs, Predictive Index, DISC assessment, all of the above, but the key point is that leaders need self-awareness first to best lead. So, behavioral assessments are a great starting place to acknowledge strengths and opportunities and how you communicate and behave. Number 3, promote training for professional and personal development. Doesn't need to be robust. You can create your own internal training, partner with an online learning platform, certification association, but being a leader is all about continuous learning, even when it's not directly related to the job you currently have. Number 4, apply for a Best Places to Work award. No excuse because there's so many of them out there. Number 5, use quantitative methods for accountability like goal setting and 360-degree reviews. Creating a development plan is the foundation of talent development. Encourage feedback often, amend your plan as you go, and be open-minded. Recruiting is not about more recruiters churning through more people. It's about creating depth within your existing leadership strategy to make what you already have going on so irresistible that you have top-tier talent lining up, knocking on your door, and begging you to come inside. It's not going to happen overnight. That's why it's important for you to take one thing from my list that resonated and use it as a step forward. You can't just half-ass your dating profile and then get upset when the only people sliding into your DMs are stage 5 clingers. The goal is to become a magnet for the best and brightest talent there is. Thank you.
It's hard to believe 30 minutes ago she was driving in a car really fast with Dino, not knowing if she was going to be here on time. That was cool. That was cool. Way to go. Swipe right, swipe left. Fantastic. Okay, speaking of fantastic, I just wanted to bring a great partner to DisruptHR as well as to our firm at Willery. We've had a long-standing relationship with One Digital. They are one of our gold sponsors. They have a whole posse here. It clearly is a wear a t-shirt plus a blazer look at One Digital. That's a thing. But I wanted to welcome all the One Digital team, including Vicky, who helped us coordinate this. Obviously, Sean, longtime friend of Willery's. Rachel's here as well from One Digital. Robin, Tim, Pete, Dino, the driver. Also, did I say Ryan already? Sorry if I did. And then I have, there's 4 of you. Matt, Craig, and Casey are supposed to come up here with one other. And Ryan. Okay, so I'm going to get out of your way. Go have your fun.
Awesome. Good evening, Disruptors. Whoop, whoop. Hey, my name's Craig Gobble. I'm Vice President of Retirement Plan Services at One Digital, and we are honored to be one of the gold sponsors this evening. Thank you so much for being here. With me is Casey Mulvaney-Pollock, Matt Byrne, Ryan Trigo. They represent our employee benefits and HR consulting divisions. So One Digital is a leading HR consulting, employee benefits, retirement advisory firm with nearly 4,000 employees nationwide. And about 200 of those are right here in OH, including our most recent acquisition of Huntington Bank's 401k team, and we've got some folks here from that as well. So in the same spirit as Rachael talked about in her disruptive talk on swiping right for top talent, we here at One Digital are all about disrupting the status quo. And we do that by our power of one. And what that is a team of subject matter experts that come alongside of you in all of these disciplines up here. I'm hitting myself with my finger. Working alongside of you to build one cohesive workforce and benefit strategy that ultimately unlocks administrative efficiencies and is mindful of fiscal responsibility for your organization. Now, our approach supports business growth because it helps people do their best work and live their best lives. All right. So, again, thank you so much. We'd love to meet you at some point this evening. Come up, find somebody in one of these cool t-shirts, say hello, introduce yourself, get a foam finger. And if you're up for the challenge, give them your best foam finger pun. I had one planned, but I can't put my finger on it. Keep disrupting, guys. Thanks so much.
I like Craig for two reasons. He has really good bad dad jokes. I'm the king of those. Craig, that was awesome. And the number two, he got an autograph from every one of the speakers tonight. And he's going to auction it off. Oh, he needs a few more. If you have not autographed Craig's DisruptHR pamphlet, he's going to then sell it on eBay for at least $500. All right, awesome. Okay, really excited to see Leslie Hoering come up. So Leslie, this is the interesting part about Leslie. She knows nothing about HR. She told me that when we met. I'm half kidding, half not. She is an interior design manager at WSA. I know she has a friend here from WSA. All right, friends. Thank you so much to the friends of Leslie. And she's all about creating spaces that maximize value for both employers and employees. And she's going to disrupt this stage about if your walls could talk, HR-infused architecture. Let's welcome Leslie.
All right, let's go. If your walls could talk, what would they say about your company's culture, about your brand, about your values? How do they impact your team? Do they enhance productivity or hinder it? Or are they merely overhead on your balance sheet? The workplace has been permanently disrupted. The COVID pandemic forever changed how we work, live, and learn. Short-term remote solutions became full-time home offices. Even those that stayed in person saw their workplaces and workflows drastically change. As you may have heard, this is our new normal. 35% of workers report having been offered full-time remote positions. That's 55 million employees. Over half of the working world, 58%, say they've been given the opportunity to work from home at least one day a week, and they're taking it. When given the chance to be flexible, 87% say yes. This is creating challenges for HR teams. The Great Resignation, quiet quitting. We are seeing how important it is to understand the wants and needs of employees. And it's important to understand how to engage those employees, whether they're in the office, working from home, or flex working altogether. Employees are demanding that work feel less like work and more like a place to pursue their passion, a place that supports the way they work and reflects the shared values of the organization and the people within it. Sorry. Oh my God, and the people within it. The key component to creating a workplace that works is to include HR leaders in the discussions and decisions about workplace design. You know your team better than anyone. By participating in these conversations, you avoid the imposition of expert opinion. Instead, the design team and business become partners. Through collaboration, we can create spaces that promote adaptability, flexibility, and have the technology to support the way that your team works, not the other way around. To start this process, we collect data. Through data collection, we learn about company culture, how people use the space, and understanding the workflows and processes of the business. Among other insights, we learn things such as how employees are using the space, and just as importantly, what spaces they're not using. It can tell us if there's a disconnect between external branding and internal values. And it can tell us the wants and needs of everyone from associates through leadership. This is how we create unique spaces for your organization and how the people in it work. This process is embodied by Ohio Mutual's Bucyrus headquarters, which hadn't received a significant update since 1969. Our team observed and recorded, yes, exactly, how space was used, and learned that employees spent less than half of their time at assigned desks, instead gravitating towards collaborative areas. This informed the design, which replaced traditional assigned seating with workstations to support large and small groups, a cafe for casual interaction, and individual private focus space for use as needed. Employees reported greater job satisfaction and improvement in company culture, and Ohio Mutual saw an increase in employee attraction, a decrease in turnover, and overall business growth. This process is unique. It transcends aesthetics and infuses human resource expertise, organizational behavior, and brand marketing into the practice of architecture. At WSA, we call it talent arc. And it's how our multidisciplinary team of experienced designers create spaces that work today and tomorrow. So what's the real talent arc secret sauce? After we collect all of that data about your brand, organization, behavior, and we analyze it for patterns and key components, we synthesize it all into a comprehensive program for our clients. This document becomes the foundation for all decisions through the design process. This allows us to create data-driven spaces that are just as functional as they are beautiful. So what does your office say about your company culture? How does it impact your team? Because really the question is not if your walls could talk, it's what do they say?
All right. Way to go, Leslie. That was cool. Good for her. How'd you do, WSA team? Okay? Awesome. Let's go, Leslie. All right, our last speaker before a shameless plug about a book I wrote that you may have heard on the internet. And here's what I'm going to say about Jeff. So Jeff is joined here by his beautiful better half, Maris. Maris, are you out there? Stand up, Maris. Why is she all the way in the back? Can somebody give her a seat closer up to the stage so she could see? There you go. Jamie's willing to trade out your seat, Maris. Come on up here, Maris. Let's go. All right. Maris, how many times have you heard this presentation in the last 2 months? Okay. Versions of it. Okay, all right. So it's new to her as well. All right. So Jeff D'Anza, he was very clear on that with me. A name like Bernatovich, you think I'd be good at pronouncing names that are not Jones or Smith. Anyway, he is originally born and raised for 6 months in Chicago, Illinois. We have any Bears fans, any Bulls fans? Okay, we've got a few. All right, we get around. All right, awesome. So cool. All right, so now Jeff is a really smart guy. He's a digital learning architect at Nationwide Insurance. He does adult learning and instructional design. He's got several degrees, and he's currently just pursuing this doctoral degree in instructional design leadership. Sounds like kind of a big deal. And so let's give Jeff D'Anza a chance to disrupt the stage on our Columbus DisruptHR stage. Here we go, Jeff.
I managed to spill wine on my leg, so I don't know how impressive I am, but let's do this. My name is Jeff, and I'm autistic. I actually didn't know that till I was in my 40s, and there's probably some of you out there who are looking at a guy on stage talking to strangers thinking, this dude's not autistic, and it's okay. Between us, that's what I thought too when I found out. And it's because my only understanding of autism was from movies and television, and I never saw myself in Rain Man. For one, I'm not very good at math, but I did see myself in other characters in movie and TV. And these characters tended to be quirky and a little different, but they held down jobs. They accomplished things. They had relationships. They were just a little bit different than their peers. And that's where I saw myself. Neurodiversity is just the idea that people experience and interact with the world around them in many different ways. There is no one right way of doing so, and our differences are not viewed as deficits. People who are neurodivergent are simply people who have brains that functions in ways that diverge significantly from dominant societal standards of normal. There is nothing wrong with them. There is nothing to be fixed. They are just not the most common. And that's okay. So why should we care? Well, for one, 20% of the population is estimated to be neurodiverse, but also Google recently reported a huge uptick in searches for neurodiversity at work. If you go out to TikTok, There's an entire space of TikTok that is just people sharing their neurodiversity stories, just socializing what it is like to be neurodivergent. Most of these people are millennials and Gen Zers. They are very in tune with what's going on in their head. You do not have to be Rain Man to do the math to understand there's not a lot of years before these people make up the majority of our workforce. They know about neurodiversity, and they expect us to know about it too. So why should you care about this? I would argue that pretty soon, you're not gonna have a choice. So if you guys don't mind, you wanna bust a few neurodivergency myths? All right, let's do it. Myth number 1. I can get my timings right. Myth number 1, neurodivergent people are all the same. There is a saying in autism advocacy circles, if you have met one autistic person, then you have met one autistic person. Myth number 2, neurodivergent people don't feel emotions or experience empathy. In reality, many neurodivergents are very empathetic. They just don't often communicate it in neurotypical manners. Myth number 3, neurodivergent people can't or do not want to form relationships. There is a lot of social anxiety that goes around with neurodivergency, but that does not mean they are not able to or unwilling to form these relationships. Myth number 4, neurodiversity is a disease or a mental health condition. Again, often mental health conditions go along with neurodiversities, but that is from struggling to fit into society, not because there is something wrong with people. And finally, myth number 5, neurodivergent people are unlikely to be successful in the workplace. If you put them in the right spots, they bring skills and viewpoints that neurotypicals do not bring. Neither is right or wrong. So what can we do to attract neurodivergent workers? I'm gonna give you a handful of things because I don't have much time, but I would suggest we look at adjusting our hiring practices. And the easiest place to start is your job postings and your job descriptions. Make sure they are concisely written, make sure there is no jargon, and most importantly, make sure if you list something as required, it is actually required. Neurodivergent people will read things literally, and they will deselect themselves from the hiring process because they don't have the one thing that you listed that you don't really need. The other thing that we can do is to help empower our managers to understand team building as opposed to individual hiring. Provide training opportunities to teach your people leaders how to build teams with differing skill sets rather than hiring the same version of a person over and over again. And finally, I would encourage you all to socialize the concept of neurodiversity with your management. Teach them what it is, why it's important, and most importantly, how to manage neurodivergent workers, because it is slightly different. If you guys take nothing else from this last 5 minutes, I hope you remember this sentence. When it comes to a thriving team, diversity and skill set are infinitely more important than uniformity of character. I thank you for your time and your attention.
All right, let's get it up for Jeff. Way to go, Jeff. Fantastic job. Okay, I will be brief because I know some of you have to go to the restroom. I know some of you want a taco. I know you want more wine. And I will try not to get emotional as I talk about what's coming up for me. Over the last 5 years, I've been working on a book called HR Like a Boss. And thank you to Bridget Klein for her inspiration, and Lizzie, and a bunch of other people that are here tonight that have been a part of that. The book is described as your guide to amazingly awesome HR. So if you are not delivering amazingly awesome HR, or if you know someone that's not delivering amazingly awesome HR, you can buy my book on Amazon or the SHRM store for $29.99, starting on June 6th, which is pretty cool. It will be published by SHRM Books. If you don't know who SHRM is, SHRM has 325,000 members, 165 countries. If only each one of them buys my book, then maybe we'll have a bigger party next year at DisruptHR, if you're all for that. There's a QR code up there that we'll leave up during the break, and I do have one just gigantic ask. So one of my favorite people that I work with at an old job. Her name's Kim Reinhart. Some of you may know Kim. Kim is a successful sales executive at ADP, and I know Dave Beckett knows her and many others. Her son, Grant, is in the back there. Grant had one job tonight, and the one job was to convince at least half of you to take a selfie in front of the HR Like a Boss backdrop and just hashtag HR Like a Boss. How many of you can promise me in the next 20 minutes, or more importantly, promise Grant in the next 20 minutes that you'll do that? If he doesn't get the 50, he has to walk home to Akron on his third day of his internship. Is that, I shouldn't have said that, Christy, should have I? So Grant, are you cool with helping people to take the selfie? HR Like a Boss, who's in? We got it, Grant. Okay, all right, awesome. Thank you so much. We're gonna take a 20-minute break. We'll be back at 7:45. Again, tacos and wine and fun and fellowship. We appreciate all of you. See you in a bit. Okay, everybody, Disrupt HR is ready to get back on the stage. Find your seats, please, now. Get your wine, get your taco. It'll all be done in 30 minutes. You can get back to it if you'd like. Your silver sponsors right now. This will be us right here. We'll be the next ones up. All right, perfect. Okay? Okay, good. Okay, everybody, let's get back up on the stage. We're running out of light. Ross says if we run out of light, we can't make videos. If we can't make videos, we lose our license to Disrupt HR, and then that's bad. Come on, Zach Downs, let's get over here. I just called you out. Gallagher people. Come on, Leslie. Come on, Ankit. Find your way back here, Ankit. Grant, get the hashtag HR Like a Boss pictures done ASAP. Let's go. Zach's good. Here comes the One Digital people. Dave Beckett is in the house. Let's go, Dave. All right. Okay. Your belly's full, got a glass of wine, we're ready to go for the last session. Can I get a woo woo? Can I get a round of applause? All right. We'll continue a thank you. 2 quick sponsorship showcases. First, we're going to showcase our silver sponsors. And I have all these names written down, but a bunch of new people came. So if I do not announce your name and you're part of one of these wonderful companies who helped put the tacos in your belly or the wine in, just keeping pouring, let's make sure we give them a round of applause. So I first want to say thanks as he's walking away. Jonathan Sadlier from Oswald, one of our silver sponsors. Jonathan, wave to the crowd. Anyone else from Oswald here? I know there's some other gentlemen in the back. They're there. Stand up, gentlemen. Tell us your names, where you're from. Nick. Kyle. Jared. Sadlier, they do okay? All right, cool. Awesome. Way to go, Oswald. Next, we have Puzzle HR. Don DiMartino, where are you, Don? Hello, Don. Is your boss here today with you? Oh, no, I hope everything will say a prayer for Dawn's boss. Dawn, thank you so much for your support of Puzzle HR. We do have goodie bags when you leave. Do not forget to grab them. There's 120 of them on your way out, right by the registration booth. You promise you won't forget to take them. Inside of there is a really cool mug or shot glass from Puzzle HR. Those things were really cool, so be on the lookout for that. Then we have Brian and Natalie from Core HCM. They were in the back before. I don't know. There we go. Natalie's dancing. Brian is at the bar. Who knows where Brian is? We'll put an APB out for Brian. Thank you to Core HCM for their support. They do a lot of UKG implementation, consulting support, so thank you for being a part of DisruptHR. We also have our friends at Hiraco. Joe Rotelli, I know, he was the one waving all the people to not park in this driveway, but in the parking lot. I think he's still out there. Can someone please go get Joe, for crying out loud? Send a flare. Is there anyone else here representing from Hiraco that I did not get a chance? I know Brittany and Brad. Okay. And then last but not least, I want to also give a shout out to Paycor. I know Dean has something to give away real quick. He invested in your wine, so he's the person that is helping you consume that wine as a part of your entry. So a lot of rounds of applause. I think Dean has a trivia question. You want to come up here real quick and do your trivia question?
I am paying attention because we are giving away two of the fabulous bottles of wine here at the winery, a Chardonnay and a Merlot. So, Valerie Coolidge, part of the team here, she is known as the chief whiner. Now, as it pertains to Valerie, if you can tell me how to spell whiner as it pertains to Valerie, these bottles go to you. Raise a hand. What? What? Incorrect. Did you raise a hand?
Right here. What's your name?
WHINER.
There you go.
All right, cool. All right, and then we're all good. Okay, I wanted to real quick give a chance to do a speaker showcase for the event sponsor, Willery, and I know you're sick of me talking, so I'm gonna let Bridget Klein, our Director of Marketing and all things speakers, DisruptHR Columbus. Here you go, Bridge.
Hello, everyone. Woo, I am loud on my own. I don't know I need a microphone. So thank you so much to everyone who is here, who has helped us put on this event. We're gonna do a little chant. I hope you guys are ready. I'm gonna say disrupt, you're gonna say HR. I'm gonna point the microphone at you, so shouldn't be too hard. Disrupt. HR. Disrupt. HR. Disrupt. HR. All right, thank you everyone. So a little bit about Willery. We are an HR and payroll staffing and consulting firm. So what that means is when you need to hire excellent HR people, you call our staffing team. We have Jamie over here, and then the rest of them are all hanging out in the back because we gotta call it out. Their fill rate is 3 times the industry average. Isn't that awesome? So let's give them a round of applause. We also have a fantastic consulting team. A lot of them are in payroll, so they're at the payroll conference that's going on this week, and they are here to help you guys with your technology. So if you're looking to optimize, stabilize, select a new one, or implement one, they're awesome. Call Bob, he's in the back. He has a yellow sticky that says HR Lab, and he's next to Zach, who has a pink sticky. So go talk to them if you're looking for any technology help. And we also have our advisory services that can just help wrap around all of the people and technology issues you might be facing. So in all of my preparation, I forgot a key component. How am I going to give away our prize pack? So please, when I say this, walk. Do not run. Do not hurt yourself. I'm going to come to the center. The first person to get to me gets a $100 Amazon gift card and a Willery prize pack. All right, on your mark, get set, go. Easy peasy. Thank you.
Thank you, Bridget. Thank you so much. Thanks to the Willery team, Lisa, Jamie, Jenna, Brittany, Addie, Bob, Zach, and Christy, and Grant. Thank you for being here today. We appreciate all of you. And we also have another special Willery employee, Miss Jen Forjak. Jen is going to talk about Dungeons and Dragons and professional development. Who has played Dungeons and Dragons? Who knows someone who's played Dungeons and Dragons? Who knows what Dungeons and Dragons is? You're soon going to know who Jen Forjak is. First and foremost, Jen is the only person that came here today with a bodyguard. Where is Jen's bodyguard at? Dave. His name is Dave. He's also her wonderful husband, so thanks to Dave for being here tonight. Jen is actually from Delaware, the state Delaware. Sorry, Jamie. And she currently lives in Lakewood, Ohio, just west of downtown Cleveland. She is one of our on our HR team on the people operations team at Willery. And we've known her throughout being a candidate, being a client, being a consultant, and I cannot tell you how excited I am to welcome Jen Forjak to the DisruptHR Columbus stage.
All right, let's do this. John stole my question. So for all of the other people that didn't raise your hands, Dungeons and Dragons, D&D, and role-playing games in general, RPGs, are collaborative storytelling games where one person guides the story by playing the narrator and supporting cast, and everyone else plays main characters in the story. D&D just often takes place in a fantasy world called Forgotten Realms. Today, you're going to hear me use several acronyms. Role-playing gamers love acronyms, almost as much as HR pros do. You've got your GM, your DM, your HP, your AC, TPK, tons and tons of acronyms, lots of fun. Today, I'd like to share with you my experience playing Dungeons and Dragons and how it's helped me practice and develop the essential business skills of teamwork, communication, and critical thinking. The 5th edition of Dungeons and Dragons came out in 2014. I started playing the game the fall of that year. As I continued to play and I reflected on my experience, I realized that for an adventuring team to be successful, they need to have a balanced and versatile team. Luckily, the starter set provides character sheets with the right mix of skills. Teamwork and teamwork. Together, players need to work together to overcome obstacles. Communication. In the game, players need to share information and coordinate actions. Critical thinking. In the game, players need to use critical thinking and often creativity to solve complex problems and make decisions based on limited information. And a bit of luck, or sometimes a lot of luck. All things that also help businesses to be successful. Except in the game, luck is often decided by a roll of a d20, a 20-sided die. When I first started playing, the group I played with was a mix of people, and not one person at the table knew everyone before we started playing. My character in the game was Verna. She was a halfling rogue. Verna had a shadowy past with a goal of revenge. The adventure began when she met her unlikely companions at a tavern in the city of Neverwinter. From there, they set off towards the town of Phandalin with the common goal of delivering a wagon of goods. Like their characters, us players didn't know each other very well. We didn't know much about each other. Our first encounter was a band of goblins along the road. The encounter was we encountered an ambush with a band of goblins along the road. Us players did different things. We didn't play together. We didn't coordinate together, and we barely made it out alive. However, and to move forward, we're going to have to work together, learn to work together to meet the challenges ahead. As we progressed, we did become more comfortable with each other. We learned each other's skills and strengths, and through effective communication and coordination, we were able to overcome increasingly challenging obstacles. The trials that we faced also required us to use critical thinking and some creativity. One such time was when we encountered a young green dragon. This was not a foe we were prepared to fight at the time. However, through a bit of collaborative planning and creativity, we were able to overcome the, have an outcome that wasn't a total TPK, total party kill. So RPGs are fun, engaging, safe spaces where people can practice and develop the essential skills of critical thinking, teamwork, and communication, all things that are valuable in the workplace. In the game, RPGs in general, there are side quests. Side quests are additional missions that give players the experience and new insights into that help them develop as players and level up. So today, I'm giving you a side quest to give RPGs a try and discover for yourself the potential it can have on your own professional development. Thank you.
Way to go, Jen. Sorry for stealing her thunder. I wish she would have told me that and I wouldn't have put my foot in my mouth. I usually do that a lot. Her opening was all screwed up. Jen, I'm so sorry, but way to go. Huge shout out to her. That was part of her development at Willery. That was a stretch goal for her to do DisruptHR Columbus. So way to go, Jen. That was fantastic. All right, speaking of fantastic, we're going to ask Hattie Hunter come up here in 1 second. She's originally from Atlanta, Georgia. She does currently live in Westerville. I'm a little confused. On January 1st, 2023, as the clock struck midnight, she was confused because she was in Westerville and she got her psych degree from the University of Georgia. Dare I ask who you were rooting for? Okay, I didn't. All right. She actually works at Integrated Leadership Systems, where she is a leadership consultant, and I cannot wait to have her on the stage to talk about the truth about confrontation. Hattie Hunter, welcome to DisruptHR Columbus.
All righty, let's go. All right, confrontation. When you think about confronting someone, does that send chills of fear down your spine? Me too, don't worry. But when we usually think about confrontation, it looks like this. Or maybe it looks like this. But when we associate confrontation with fighting or stonewalling or yelling, that leads to beliefs that hurt our workplaces, that damage trust, and that limit potential, innovation, and growth. But why do we think so negatively about confrontation? Maybe it's from a real-life experience, or maybe I think more likely it's socially constructed and accepted this way. Actually, when you Google confrontation, these are some of the exact images that show up. But I'm here to change that, hopefully. There's a much less dysfunctional understanding of confrontation. Confrontation, you can think of it as meeting the truth head on, or more simply, just facing or highlighting a situation or problem. Picture this. You're at a party, much like this one. You know, people are mingling, walking around, you're talking with a friend. Someone walks up next to you, steps and stands on your foot. You say, hey, excuse me, you're standing on my foot. Could you please move? Although simple, that's an example of confrontation. So when we avoid those kind of problems, we're just preserving the exact thing we wish would go away. So in order to change our belief, what do we have to do? Make up some new ones, perhaps. So the way to do that is through cognitive behavioral techniques. This ABCD model here shows that what's happening internally is affecting our external. So when we believe that confrontation is negative always, it's going to lead to negative effects like avoidance. So let's create a new belief here today. All right? Let's picture confrontation looking like this. Collaborative, harmonious. And that's going to be the path to psychological safety and trust in our workplaces. Now, the next question, when is it the right time to confront someone? You should face any problem that's harmful, annoying, uncomfortable. It may be difficult, but when you're prepared, you can do it effectively. Now, before I go on, let's talk about some benefits of confrontation. The biggest thing that confrontation does for us in our workplaces is it limits those assumptions and insinuations that happen every single day. And that leads to solving problems. But if we do them wrong, this can happen. We can blame or shame or humiliate our employees. And when we do that, people are scared of confrontation. So in order to change that, we have to learn to be more assertive instead. There is a sweet spot between aggressive and passive aggressive, and that's assertiveness. Confrontation gets a bad rap because people do it wrong. So we want to be more assertive. And the first step in that is that in order to be assertive, you have to have confidence in yourself. And when you do that, you're able to create a deeper, more genuine connection with the people around you. So, how to be more assertive. Start with this 3-step process. Describe the behavior, describe how that behavior makes you feel, and explain to the person what changes you would like to see made in the future. So let's go through a real-life example. Say you have an employee that's just not meeting the deadlines that you set. So first, describe their behavior. I like to say, I've noticed. That kind of limits the blaming and shaming aspect of it. So I've noticed you've been missing deadlines. Then you can go straight into step 2 and describe how that behavior makes you feel. I've noticed that when you miss these deadlines, I feel worried about our group's progress. And then the 3rd step, which is usually the most difficult step that we face, because we have to make an ask to somebody, which is usually the hardest thing to do. So I would say, I prefer if you would let me know in advance if you aren't going to meet these deadlines. But don't forget to make the ask. Can I have it by Friday? Now, this isn't easy. And, as you're working to be more assertive, this process makes it a lot easier. It can help prevent emotional hijackings. It can help open lines of communication with you and whoever you're trying to confront. But you must stay committed and stay focused. Now, while we're deconstructing all these negative beliefs about confrontation, I challenge you to do it scared, do it poorly, be gentle and curious, and good luck. But I have one more question. What part is holding you back? Good luck and thank you.
All right, next slide, last sponsorship showcase, and we have 2 presenters to finish us off for DisruptHR Columbus. First, wanted to thank Delta Dental. Jason, are you out there? Delta Dental has been a supporter the last 2 years. Thank you so much. If you need insurance for your teeth, see Jason. We also have Medical Mutual. Medical Mutual, I'm not sure if they were able to make it tonight. They were thankfully a sponsor for tonight's. Are we there? Oh, sorry. Thank you so much. My bad. You didn't see us at registration. I'm sorry. Brittany, he's right here. Make sure you see Jimmy. My bad, bud. Stand up. Say hello. All right. Awesome. Way to go. And last but not least, we wanted to thank Mark, Cheryl, Scott, and Steve from the UKG team, along with all their clients. I know Mark had a giveaway that he wanted to help. Real quick, everybody come on up here real quick from UKG.
So this is my U crew. Steve, Scott, Cheryl. It's awesome to be here and have this happening for the HR community. So if you don't know us at UKG, we serve human capital and workforce management needs. We have a great set of customers we take care of in Central Ohio. So an honor to have some of them here with us tonight and be able to help them with their workforce needs. I just wanted a couple quick things of gratitude. One, you are my people. I love HR. So thank you for all of you guys showing up for one another tonight. So quick round of applause for you. And also to the volunteers, to the Willery team for putting this party together. It's awesome. And last but not least, and I know we're not done yet. I thought we were going up at the very end, but the speakers. It takes a lot of courage and bravado to get up here and share a piece of yourself with a bunch of complete strangers. So wanted to say thank you to all of the speakers tonight. And we wanted to give something back to them. So we have a $100 gift card from Cameron Mitchell Restaurants that I have randomly numbered our speakers 1 through 9. And Cheryl's going to pick a number 1 through 9.
7.
7. Hattie.
So that was convenient. So thanks for being awesome. Thank you all of the speakers for being awesome. And thanks for coming out tonight, everyone.
Thanks, Mark. Appreciate you. Thank you. All right, 2 more left. Next slide, Lizzie. Okay, Mark Kruth. Mark Kruth was actually born in Santa Fe, New Mexico. Anybody here born in New Mexico? Okay, Mark is. Awesome. He then relocated to the paradise of Detroit, Michigan. Anybody got a woot woot for Detroit? All right, the Lions are going to win the Super Bowl. That's what everybody's talking about. Isn't that? That's what I hear. That's what I hear on all the radio shows and everything, which is pretty cool. All right, so Mark, and one of the hardest parts about being up here is pronouncing words that I'm not used to pronouncing. Mark, help me out. Atlassian. Okay, it's a resident modern work expert focused on practice over theory. Mark spends his day coaching both Atlassian and customer teams on new ways of working, then sharing what he's learned at events around the world. He just was at Winnipeg DisruptHR not too long ago. He thought the logical place after that was to come to Columbus. And so let's give a warmer here, I'm sure it is. Let's give a big welcome to Mark Kruth to the DisruptHR Columbus stage.
It is definitely warmer here, definitely. All right, let's do this thing. All right, so question for you all. Raise your hands if you work in a hybrid work environment, or maybe you've got one of those great return to office mandates going on. Anyone experiencing that? Yeah. Now, when that happens, I bet your people are probably looking at you a little bit like this when you hear about that. Yeah. So here's the thing, this whole return to office thing is, it's a great debate today, right? It's pretty contentious too. It's more contentious than politics, and I don't even want to touch that over the next couple of years. But here's the thing, I have an opinion about this, and it's that I don't give a shit about remote work, and I don't think you should either. Here's the thing, remote work, it's here to stay. It's not going anywhere. But I think this battle for remote is actually hiding the real issue we're experiencing. And it's this fact of how do we help our teams work in a remote world? How do we help enable them to succeed when they're not in the same place? Now, I use this word distributed really intentionally because there's a difference between distributed and remote. For me, I think the word remote actually means it's all about the individual. It's all about me and what I want. Whereas distributed, that's all about the team. I don't know a single person who's ever done anything amazing without a team around them. Now, here's the thing, distributed work's in trouble because teamwork's in trouble. Right now, 13% of teams are actually considered healthy today. That means they have the right ingredients for high performance. And the dirty secret of this is it has nothing to do with where they work. The same study actually found that regardless of where you work, whether you're in the office, whether you're remote, whether you're hybrid, team health is still terrible. And honestly, when you think about it, it makes a lot of sense. I mean, follow me. Let's say you're living your best remote life, living in the hills of Lisbon, Portugal, right? Oh, Europe is beautiful. But every day when you log in for work, you get in there and you sigh because you're going to get into that next shitty meeting and you hate your life a little bit. I mean, are you living your best life then? Probably not. So what do we do about it? Well, to me, we get really intentional about our ways of working, and we focus on the practices that we need to use to enable better distributed teamwork and actually do those practices. Now, for me, my organization, we're a large company. We're 10,000 people distributed around the world. People are free to work and live however and wherever they want. My team, we're distributed across 3 continents and don't have a good time zone. But we're successful with this because of the fact that we ask our teams to do one thing. We want them to ask the question, how is this going to impact my team? It's not about telling them where to work or having them work crazy hours. It's about having them communicate with each other and align on how they want to work. Now, for us, we do this by actually having our teams do 4 simple practices. We call them plays. And these practices are what we consider the foundation of our teamwork culture. And so today, I actually want to tell you about them because they're really obvious practices, but a lot of teams struggle with them. So the first one, we want teams to align on the problem they're trying to solve and what success looks like at the end of the day. We do this through creating a team poster. This poster is all designed to help teams kind of look at what's their why and how do they get there as a team. Next, we want teams to move quickly and avoid that consensus paralysis by having clear roles and responsibilities. We want them to move fast in a distributed async world, and this is the best way to do it. Now, the third play we have is probably the most important one, and it's building a team working agreement. This is all about making those implicit assumptions around how we work explicit out there, whether it be how we communicate to how we give feedback. And for my team, every Monday, what we do is we actually share a video out with each other talking about what we did the past week, what we're going to do this week, because we like seeing each other's faces. And being distributed, it's really hard. So this is in our working agreement. Now, the fourth play we have is all about teams focusing on the fact that they need other teams to be successful. And so we want them to identify those teams in what we call a network of teams. Work doesn't happen in isolation. So this gives our teams the ability to focus on those teams-to-teams relationships. And with that said, I mean, it all seems pretty obvious. There's no special superpower here. Organizations that are successful with distributed teamwork aren't doing anything different. But what they are doing is they're being very intentional in how they work. And I think we all know that to be true. We know the fact that we've all got to get a little bit more intentional about how we work together. We know we need to go back to the basics. We need to step back a little, and we need to focus on those distributed teamwork practices. So here's my call to action to you as we leave here today. You have two choices. You can go back to the office tomorrow, and you can accept the RTO mandate. You can accept the shitty working environment you have with that hybrid aspect, knowing that it won't actually fix your teamwork problems. Or you can go out there, actually work with your organization, and get intentful around how you work. Your call. Thanks, everyone.
All right, it's the last presentation. We're going to have Robin Grable come up here in 1 second. Hold on 1 second. So Robin and I just realized we had two mics all night, but we've been using one, and I totally screwed that up, so I apologize. We're on it. And the occasional loud noise from the mic, I'm an idiot sometimes, and my team can attest for that. All right, so let's talk a little bit about Robin. So Robin is a really cool story. She was born in Richmond, Indiana, which is part of the reason why she came to DisruptHR Columbus, because it's nearby. She lives in Greenville, South Carolina. She came all the way up from there just for DisruptHR Columbus. Let's give her a round of applause for that. To continue that round of applause, she's the founder and CEO of Talents Ascend and Veterans Ascend. She spent over 30 years in the private human resource sector. And one of the really cool things, which we actually have now our second vet, she is a part of the U.S. Navy and a veteran. Let's thank her for our service and bring Robin Grable up to the stage to shut down DisruptHR Columbus.
Thank you, John. All right, let's do this. All right, so in 1482, Leonardo da Vinci wrote to the Duke of Milan and said, "I need your patronage and your support." He is the first person recorded to having used a resume. 1482, people, it's 500 years later. Sheryl Sandberg addressed some HBS students and said, "Look for opportunity, mission, growth, impact. Progress isn't always a ladder. It could be a jungle gym, sideways, forward, backwards, etc. Build your skills, not your resume." In World War II, women were instrumental in the war effort because they had the skills to build airplanes. Yes. But they rarely got 50% of the wages their male counterparts made for doing the same job. NASA hired hundreds of women to be human computers because they had the skills. Judith Love Cohen invented the abort guidance system. Without her, the Apollo 13 astronauts would never have made it home. Fun fact, she is the mother of actor Jack Black. This is me when I went into the Navy in 1979. Yes, it's in color. Women had been serving in the military for decades, but we still weren't allowed to do certain roles. Not because we didn't have the skills, not because we weren't smart or strong enough, simply because my application said, I'm a female. Have you ever taken a blind taste test where you're evaluating something without the influence of other factors to find out what's right about something? But yet every time we pick up a resume, we are influenced by every other factor to judge somebody for what's wrong with them. The Voice is one of my favorite shows. The singers are judged on their skills. The judges don't have a resume. They don't see the candidate to judge them on their age, ethnicity, background, gender, simply on their skills. Why? Because skills matter. Say it with me, people. Skills matter. Not when I got them, not where I got them, not how long I've had them, not misguided perceptions about what roles belong to what gender simply because I have the skills you need for your business. So why are we still stuck in 1482 using resumes? When was the last time you were judged negatively and it felt good? Think about all the resumes you've submitted, some more than others, and you didn't get an answer. What did you likely do the next time? You lied. 56% of people lie or stretch the truth on their resume. The downstream cost of that? Wasted HR time, bad interviews, low productivity, and the dreaded word, turnover. So if the cost of using a resume isn't worth enough to ban them, let's talk about the ROI of not using them. Pay equity, diversity, inclusion, and all the talent that you can get into your organizations. As a veteran, I know how much training I received and who paid for that. You, the taxpayers. A lot of skills that I earned in the military, and all of us earned in the military. But yet 95% of veterans are filtered out because of lack of industry experience, previous employer, previous title, or education. 20% neurodiverse. Jeff mentioned that. 1 in 4 Americans identify as having a disability. Their labor participation rate is 21%, versus 63% because of resume stigma. 70 million Americans have some form of criminal record. They need jobs too to support themselves, their communities. We all benefit from that. Yet most of them are not included in our wonderful unemployment rate that we're so proud of. So how do you build a skills-based environment? You need to know the skills your organization needs. And then you need to make sure that your process and your people value those skills, understand them, and look for them in other places besides a resume. People are no longer willing to settle for jobs or companies that don't match their skills or their values. By implementing a skills-based process, you can get your employees to thrive within your business and get your business to grow. Have you ever gone to a dance and no one asked you to dance? Have you ever come to a networking event and no one talks to you? It's not a good feeling. Yet every time we look at a resume, we're decimating the invitation for somebody to come to our company by judging them. Successful companies change fast, and implementing a skills-based hiring will get you to the talent that you need, a motivated workforce that stays longer. Retention benefits all of us. Skills-based hiring is the future. The future is already here. It is the path to eliminate bias and discrimination. It is the path to job growth and economic expansion. If just 1% more of people with disabilities were able to enter the workforce, our GDP would grow by $25 billion. So the next time you pick up a resume, ask yourself why, and then figure out how to get that person dancing in your organization. Ban resumes, people. Be inclusionary.
Okay, I have 2 real quick things before we say thank you and good night. Number 1, I would like all the volunteers to please stand up, and let's start to give them a round of applause for their volunteerism, and make sure you continue to stay standing up to the volunteers. For all the sponsors who helped donate their money to tonight's event, all the sponsors, please stand up, and we'll continue to give them a round of applause. While we're doing that, all the speakers who spoke tonight, come up on stage with me. All the speakers who were on stage tonight, come on up with me. Keep clapping, keep clapping. Come on, Jen. And oh God, and for everyone who's clapping, I assume you're going to buy my book if you're standing and clapping. You promised, right? All right, let's give them a round of applause. Here's a DisruptHR 2023 second annual edition speaker crew. Thank you, everyone. Good night. The tacos are still going. The wine's still here. Be safe. Let's hope the traffic is cleared up, and we'll see you next year.